Okay. I'm not quite sure if this microphone is on, but no, this is on. Yes. Okay. This is only for the online, so we have no microphone. Got it. Got it. Okay. Good morning, everyone. I think we're out of practice, right? Good morning, everyone. There we go. There we go. Well, good morning to everybody here that is in the room with us. Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, or whatever time that you are joining us for the online audience. Welcome today. I'm going to begin with some thank yous, as you do. We have been thinking about this conference, working on this conference, building this conference for, I think, over 2 years now, with the, context of what COVID had presented us last year, and this ongoing way of, keeping the ball moving forward. But it's been a tremendous amount of work, and we are really grateful for all of those that have been part of this conversation. Jorg is a big part of what we do here, is the center of what we do here, is our fearless leader, but also our house University. I'm sorry, I don't know why I cannot pronounce it, for their support of great research, great researchers, and so it's a great honor to be here today. So we'll give them a round of applause. I would also like to recognize this year's Emerging Scholar Awardees. Could they stand up for 1 second? As they stand up, I'm going to describe their role. This is a competitive application. We have great applications every year, and I say truthfully that every year is the best bunch. And this is a wonderful group of researchers who we have the great opportunity to put them in the front of the room. So they'll be there guiding conversation, making sure you're on time. That's a very important thing too. But most importantly, it'll be their voices and experience that are an integral thread to what the conversations will be over the next 2 days. So I congratulate them. We have a little ceremony at the closing session, which we encourage you to all be at, but at least I get the chance to recognize them in this format too. So we'll give them a round of applause. I'd also like to recognize our online emerging scholars. They'll be in the online rooms. You'll see in the program there's an asynchronous tab. That is where all the online content is. I'll talk a bit about that in a second. But I'd like to thank them for their engagement and participation as well. So a little bit about, well, by the way, I'm Philip Calantis-Cope, Chief Social Scientist of Common Ground Research Networks. I always forget that. Usually I say it at the end. But one of the things that we do at Common Ground Research Networks is we are interested in the nature and future of scholarly communication, the things that we do, how we do it, and how we distribute it to the world. And COVID presented us all with a new challenge of thinking about what the future of scholarly communication would be. Some of the boundaries, the forms of exclusion that were in society before, we have seen bubble up into all the common spaces that we know, and scholarly communication was not immune to that. There'll be a range of young scholars that have missed 2 years of important conversations and kind of access. And so when COVID came, we thought, what are we going to do with the tools that we have? And rather than build a temporary shelter, we went into our tech team and we built our own platform, our own tools, which is the CG Scholar platform. We had the platform for quite some time, but we built the event application within that, which is what delivers the conference content that you are experiencing today. And so we made some pedagogical decisions, but also some ethical decisions about how that content would operate. So everybody who's a presenter gets a presentation page. We encourage all of you in-person delegates, also online of course, to upload digital media to that page, video, PowerPoint, context for what your paper is. That's important for the online experience, but also what we're trying to do is build a time capsule of what this conference is. You know, all the kinds of conversations that happen in here and your presentations, which is a legacy resource that you can return to. We also decided to have the online content asynchronous. Why did we do that? You know, well, we learned that time zones are an exclusionary boundary too. You know, when somebody can engage, how they can engage is a complicated thing, and it's becoming even more complicated today. And so this is the kind of context for what the Scholar app is today. It's why you have no printed program. There's two reasons why you have no printed program. One is we were delegates to COP26 this year, and we have our own climate pact. One of the things is to reduce, as you know, it's kind of ironic. I know the irony of we all flown here and all that kind of stuff. So that is not lost on me, but we are trying in all the ways that we can to reduce the impact of what these conferences are. We've also, for each delegate, we assign a certain amount which we commit to the UN carbon transfer programs. We are investing in social programs, and so we're trying to balance our ways out. That's one part. The other part is we want you in the app, commenting and engaging, looking at all the both in-person and online content there. Each of these pages has a discussion board where if you're in a panel and you didn't ask the question to that person and you want to go back and do it, you can put it in that space. You can contact fellow delegates in there as well. So that's a big part of what we've done and the context of the app and technology that we are trying to build here. The other thing is that we have some session types which I want to draw your attention to, which are a little bit different. The first thing that you'll see after our opening now is the talking circle. So the talking circle, when you click on that title, it'll open up to a page and you'll see that there are 3 rooms. Each of the rooms has one of the themes of this year's conference. And what we ask you to do is go into that room, introduce, see which one best fits your research area or your interest. Go in there, introduce yourself, say who you are, where you've come from, your area of research, and what we hope is that's the first kind of personal and thematic connection that you guys can make here. The other thing is that we have a few special events that I want to draw your attention to. We have the opening reception tonight, which will be here. It's open to all, of course. We have a conference dinner, which is tomorrow night. We have a few spots left for that. If you're interested, please speak to Tamsin. So that's the conference component, but this research network is not just a conference. We have a wonderful journal and book series. We have our journal award winners here right now. Well, they are going to be here. I don't know if they're in the room. I'm going to Jennifer Walinga and Danielle Sir. Yes, do you want to stand up, please? We're going to give them a round of applause. Thank you. I apologize for any mispronouncing of your name, but I have some practice because we're going to give you your award and the closing ceremony. So their paper that won the award is titled "The Role of Leadership and Team Culture in Enhancing Sports Performance Outcomes." That paper was awarded the award based on its scoring by the peer reviewers that are part of this community. So we are very proud of that. One of the things that we are trying to do with our journal is that we're trying to, take seriously the peer review. We love York, we love our board. York, monitors everything that we do. But one of the things that's important to us is that the validation for the content we produce happens by members in this room and by our community itself. So when you submit, we add you to a database and we ask you to do 2 other works of peer review, and that way it is the product of this community itself. Also, we give you access to that journal. It's a wonderful resource. It's part of the whole package. It's not great to cite yourself too often, but what you can do is cite each other. And if you like the people you see here and the things that they're talking about, please go into that resource and help us all move forward together. The other thing we do is we have a fantastic book series, thanks to Jorg. He keeps us tremendously busy. And we are introducing 2 things here. One is a title, April Henning and Jasper Andreasen, they are talking about their book, Performance Cultures and Dope Bodies, here at this conference. We also are introducing a new teaching pocketbook series, which Jorg is going to talk about. Again, like our journals, you get complimentary access, or not complimentary, it's part of your membership. It's, it's part of the package to electronic copies of all the books that are published. So again, we are committed to giving back the resources that are published through this community to the community itself. You can also, purchase real copies, and Jorg will be happy about that too. We also have the great honor, awards, is that one of the books that came through the Sports and Society series won our Publishers Prize this year. That title of the edited collection, Time Out, Global Perspectives on Sport and the COVID-19 Lockdown. It's a wonderful series. And that title was edited by Jorg, April Henning, Lindsay Piper, I can see just walked in right now, and Paul DeMeo. Information about all these books you'll find at the registration desk. So a final thank you before I hand over goes to all of you. It's no easy feat to travel right now. There's the existential weight, the real barriers, the technical infrastructures, the cost, everything makes the kind of headwind of participating very strong. And I really appreciate the commitment that you all made to be here in person and pat yourself on the back. You are pioneers of a brand new world. So are you online. With that, I will hand over to Askves Christiansen, who is the head of sport. Yes, here at Aarhus University. Thank you.
Thanks a lot. Good morning. It is a privilege for me to be able to welcome you to the 13th International Conference on Sport and Society. My name is Askves Christiansen, and I'm an associate professor and head of section for sports science here at the Department of Public Health at Aarhus University. Aarhus University is the 2nd largest university in Denmark with 38,000 students and 8,000 staff. So it's an okay large university. As you realize and probably noticed, section for sports science is geographically slightly detached from the rest of the Aarhus University campus that is 3 kilometers up the hill. For those of you who were not present at the panel debate last night, the pre-conference panel debate, which actually took place at campus, I will encourage you, if you can find time, to have a stroll in the park up there. It is a beautiful campus, and it is nice to see. But we are here in modern facilities in the middle of Aarhus because this is where the sport facilities are. We are close to swimming pools, the sea, the woods, the football pitches, and the sport hall. So that's why we're down here and not in the middle of the campus. Section for Sports Science is part of the Department of Public Health. A central research topic here is interventions. Interventions meant to change people's behavior in healthier ways. As is the case for sport and regulations in sport, that often begs the question on how much you can regulate and how much you can intervene without violating the rights of the individual. Whose body is it? As it is stated in the presentation of this conference, questions in this regard concerns how bodies are free and governed in all levels of sport. Clearly, the body is never completely your own, like it's never completely, say, the state's. It is a contested space. As an example, the introduction of doping controls in elite sport has been contested by athletes who say it violates their human rights and bodily integrity. In the courts where it's been tested, this question, it has indeed been raised as a human rights issue. But each time the athletes have lost and rulings have fallen in favor of the anti-doping authorities. The argument being that the integrity of sport is more important than the individual's right, the individual athlete's right to non-interference in private bodily matters. And also, if you look at Gallup polls in both North America and Europe, they show that most people actually accept this, and they accept that the need for sporting fairness and athletes' health is more important than what the individual athlete think of being tested. But what happens when doping controls are moved out of elite sport and into the realm of recreational sport, and we begin testing, for instance, gym enthusiasts for performance-enhancing drugs? Obviously, the fairness argument disappears, and we are left with the health argument. We then need to prove that what we are doing is bettering the health of the athletes. But for it to be valid, those interferences or testing, we need to demonstrate that those controls can answer to the what has been called the 5 justificatory conditions for public health interventions. First, the testing of gym enthusiasts should be effective. It should be effective in reaching the goal of preserving or increasing health. Second, you also need to demonstrate that the mean, which in this case is showing for the individual athlete to show their genitals and peeing in front of a complete stranger, should be proportionate to the aim. That is, again, you should demonstrate that it's actually increasing health. Third, it should be necessary to use these means to reach the aim, and also then to demonstrate that it cannot be reached by other means. Fourth, one should make sure that it is conducted in a way, that the testing is conducted in a way that ensures the least infringement of the value presumed to be broken in the act of the testing with this intervention. And finally, one should make sure that it's done in a way so you don't discriminate on specific groups that are then targeted, that might be targeted by it. Very often, I would say, or almost very often when we make interventions and come up with interventions like this and regulations and rules, both in public health and in sport, we don't give these conditions sufficient attention. And it's my hope, therefore, that this conference will help shed light on how we deal with this and the many other questions on whose body it is. I wish you all a great conference and a pleasant stay in Aarhus. Welcome.
So I'm the last one, so we're almost done. I'm York, for those who I haven't met, and I have the great pleasure to host the conference here. Yesterday we started, and over the next 2 days. And it's really great to see so many people in the room already in the early morning. So hopefully we can have good exchanges and discuss what we have to present, because that's the main aim. I'm gonna change my speech that I have noted down, because I was gonna talk also about the body and sport, which is no problem. So I'm actually gonna reiterate a little bit what I said yesterday. And it links to both Ask's talk and also Phil's about having a conference on site. And that is that I think we have the duty to come back to have an open academic debate And I think that was something that was restricted during COVID, but that is also something that we see increasingly decreasing in our academic cultures, because I think that the space for academic discourse has narrowed over the last couple of years. As I said yesterday, gray areas have sort of been abolished in favor of just having a black and having a white. But it's important for us academics to return and exchange arguments and criticize each other and weigh up arguments without just outright rejecting what other peoples are having to say. That is, of course, easier to be done in a setting where everyone is together rather than online. And so that's my hope that we can return to that also during this conference. I also want to say thank you to Common Ground, to Phil and Tamsin for allowing Aarhus University to be the host of this university. As I said yesterday, we decided around a year ago that Aarhus was going to be the host, and I said at the time Denmark is a pretty safe choice already at that point, and it proved to be. I would argue, even though I think it looks much better anywhere in the world now than it did a year ago. But thanks for trusting us, for trusting me to bringing or to having the conference here. Of course, thank you to Ask and my colleagues for supporting that idea as well. I'm throwing constantly ideas and initiatives at them, not only at Common Ground, but also at my colleagues. So I'm glad we can make things happen, and we have the support and open ears for those ideas. A few housekeeping things. I've seen some people have just already tried to log into the Wi-Fi, so there's two possibilities. You can go via EdRoam, or you can use the AU Guest Wi-Fi network. There you will have to confirm by SMS or Facebook or Gmail, Google, some account. There's different ways to go online. So these are the two ways. And then with regards to the parallel sessions, so we are here on the first floor and in the auditorium. That's where the main two panel debates will take place later this afternoon and tomorrow. And then we have on the third floor two rooms for the parallel session and one on the fifth floor. So that's a little climbing exercise, but you know, we are from sport and physical activity fields. That should be okay. And we have an elevator too, so that helps. And talking about the panel debates, I'm also really happy that we have a team of researchers from Utrecht University here, who are a sport and society group that will host this afternoon's panel. They are dealing in their research with autonomy in sport and sporting bodies, but of course we're talking here more about the organizational bodies, which was also how we played a little bit with the title, of course. So I'm really pleased that Frank van Ekeren reached out to me a couple of months ago and said, that this is great, we can join up and do something together. So I'm greatly looking forward to those exchanges later in the afternoon as well. Yes, and with that, I think we can open the conference. Welcome you all again. We also have a set of volunteer students here down here. You can also stand up or turn around. So if you have any questions in terms of more of the practical questions, or you know, where's the bathroom, anything, they know the building pretty well because they hang out here a lot. So that's maybe the last group of people that we need to introduce. Yeah, and so first thing we'll do is go into the talking circles. They are in all the three seminar rooms or parallel session rooms, 318, 321, and 518. and the emerging scholars will lead those debates. And then after that, we will have a coffee and cake break before we go into the first parallel session. So thank you and welcome.
Just to make it easier for you, if you're interested in the special focus, you can go to room 318. If you're interested in theme 1, sporting cultures and identities, or theme 2, sport and health, you can go to room 518. If you're interested in sports education or sports management and commercialization, you can go to room 321. Thank you.